took away his name and we put the stats and the performance next to a Joe Burrow or Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, everyone would say, well, that guy's the leader right now with the MVP.
Be honest with you, it's his. He had the MVP, he's able by himself. I don't care, you're talking Patty Mahomes, whoever you're trying to put in there. This is the best quarterback playing right now in the National Football League.
CJ Stroud is the frontrunner for the MVP. Every now and then, a rookie quarterback comes along and blows your mind. Joe Namath in 1965, Dan Marino in 1983, Cam Newton in 2011, and Andrew Luck in 2012. These guys immediately looked like they belonged in the NFL, most of which are now enshrined in the NFL Hall of Fame. It's time to add another name to that list of elite quarterbacks, CJ Stroud, a product of the Ohio State Buckeyes and now the undoubted franchise quarterback for the Houston Texans, and explain exactly why he should be in the conversation for the NFL MVP. The Houston Texans haven't had a winning season since 2019.
Talking about a bad football team. This team picked 2 and 3. Texans on the clock. CJ Stroud, Texans up again.
Yeah.
Like, come on. This dude is changing around this organization. He is clearly, I'm telling you, and it ain't close by the way this young fella is playing. He's at the table by himself right now when you talk MVP conversation.
The Deshaun Watson saga crippled the franchise, and once they traded him away, it was essential to get his replacement right when making the selection in the 2023 NFL Draft.
The Houston Texans select CJ Stroud, quarterback, Ohio State.
He had been a back-to-back All-American and won both the Big Ten Offensive Player of the Year and the Big Ten Quarterback Awards for 2 years in a row. Stroud had thrown 85 touchdown passes in 2 seasons for the Buckeyes, and after finishing 3rd in Heisman voting in 2022, declared himself for the draft. And while many believed he might be great in the NFL, I'm not, especially after his test scores were leaked, but who's the one that looks dumb now?
I'm not a test taker, so I play football for me. But at the end of the day, man, I don't got nothing to prove to nobody. The people who are making the picks know what I can do.
He has already surpassed the previous 3 season win totals and is playing at an extremely high level just halfway through his rookie campaign. Through his first 9 games as an NFL quarterback, CJ Stroud has thrown for 2,626 passing yards and 15 touchdowns.
Yards, he's 7th. Yards per attempt, he's 3rd. Yards per reception, whoever, they would be in the MVP conversation. I don't care if he's a rookie.
Stroud is not only making big plays and scoring a ton of points, but also taking care of the football, which is something that tends to be rare in rookie quarterbacks. I mean, hell, look at Peyton Manning. He looked like an NFL quarterback as a rookie. He was making big plays, making all the throws, and appeared to be just as good as advertised coming out of Tennessee. However, Peyton threw 28 picks as a rookie, which is still a record that's stands today. So if CJ Stroud looks as good as he does and is already avoiding the mistakes that rookie quarterbacks are allowed to make, he might just be the real deal. Stroud's performance against the Cincinnati Bengals marked the 4th time this season that he's thrown for 300 plus yards, and his 356-yard total in that game now makes him the #1 quarterback in football in yards per game. I mean, just watching the game, it was incredible. I mean, he hit the tight end Dalton Schultz right over the middle for a huge gain, and then Noah Brown to make sure that they got into field goal range. And then they hit the eventual field goal to win that game. He went toe-to-toe with Joe Burrow, a Super Bowl quarterback on a $275 million contract, and won in what now will be considered the biggest win of his young career so far. The Bengals are expected to be a contender, and Joe Burrow an MVP candidate. But Stroud stole the show, and once again proved himself to be among the league's elite already. He's now just 2 touchdowns behind Patrick Mahomes this season and has thrown 6 less interceptions than the 2-time MVP too. Lack of standout weapons at wide receiver, Stroud is elevating his guys, and everybody on that offense is having one of the best years of their careers. Tight end Dalton Schultz is on pace to have the best year of his career despite it being his first in Houston, now already over 420 receiving yards with 4 touchdowns in 2023. And how about Noah Brown? He's a 6-year veteran whose career peaked in 2022 when he reached 555 receiving yards and is just over 100 yards short of his career high season in 5 games. Brown had 172 yards on 7 catches against the Bengals, and in the prior game against Tampa Bay, put up another 153 yards and a touchdown. He was one of the biggest pieces of a monumental day on offense. With 470 passing yards, Stroud broke Andrew Luck's record for the most passing yards thrown in a game by a rookie. He had 5 touchdowns in the game too, the last of which was a game-winning drive and a dart to Tank Dell in the end zone to win the game. I mean, it's actually insane. He's so calm under pressure, and even in the biggest of moments, he doesn't back down. Look at it this way. If a rookie quarterback can go out and win in those scenarios, then you found your guy. Stroud is now tied with both Luck and Cam Newton as the only 3 rookies to ever throw for 350 plus yards 3 times in their rookie season. Stroud still has half a season left to claim that record all for himself. And honestly, at this point, it seems pretty inevitable that I think he's gonna do that. I mean, the list of guys that this kid is stealing records from is absolutely insane. And I mean, Andrew Luck in particular was one of the most impressive rookie quarterbacks we've seen. Coming out of college, he was considered to be the best college quarterback of all time, and the guy who would make the easiest transition into playing at a high level as a pro. Luck threw for 4,374 passing yards and 23 touchdowns as a rookie, while throwing 18 interceptions. He started every game and led his team to 11 wins with an impressive performance, including the 433-yard 2-touchdown game against Miami, which set the record that CJ Stroud just broke. Don't get me wrong, Andrew Luck was superb, but he wasn't shy of throwing into trouble either. He threw 3 interceptions in his very first game, and by the time he played 9 games, he had thrown 9 interceptions. Without knocking Luck or his talent or the season he had, CJ Stroud is just playing better football right now. I mean, look at them in comparison. Luck's biggest touchdown day was a 4-touchdown day against the Detroit Lions. He threw for 391 passing yards that day, but again, he threw 3 interceptions. With Luck, as it was with Peyton Manning, greatness came with its flaws. The elite level throws and touchdowns were there, but both made rookie mistakes often. I mean, CJ Stroud just is not doing that. Okay, don't get me wrong. I know he had a late pick 6 against Cincinnati. Yes, he did have that. But I mean, honestly, that's the first real big error he's made all season. Can you name another? I mean, besides that, the kid has been absolutely clinical with his reads and his footwork. I sat here for 20 minutes the other day just watching and learning about this kid's footwork. What am I doing? But that's besides the point. He's just 8 touchdowns shy of Andrew Luck's rookie record in touchdowns. And he's doing all this while throwing less picks too. The Texans rookie is just displaying everything you would want to see from a franchise quarterback, and to see it all this early must be extremely exciting for both the Texans fan base and their organization. His passes he's making. Everybody saw the pass he made to Tank Dell against the Tampa Bay Bucks. Dell ran a double move and earned himself a yard or 2 of separation, and Stroud found him in the back of the end zone with a ball that was placed perfectly. I mean, if that was thrown 1 or 2 yards a different way, that's probably going to be an interception. But like I said, don't get me wrong, he definitely has not been perfect. I mean, look at it this way. He probably should have had a 600-yard game against the Bucks, but he missed a couple of reads here and there, so he only threw for 500 yards and 5 touchdowns. If he had hit those back, it would have been an even more ridiculous stat line for the young rookie. When you compare him to the other elite level quarterbacks who would be considered for MVP, there's no reason at all he shouldn't be in the conversation. Stroud has had his moments, like we said, and made a few mistakes, sure, but he's also been one of the most consistent quarterbacks in the league. And to put it outright, the Texans are winning because of him. Can you name another team that's having that happen right now? And I know I'm gonna get some hate for this, but I mean, if we really look at it, he's outplaying Mahomes, like in every which way possible. Patrick Mahomes has struggled a little this season. The Chiefs' record has been supported by a great defense this year, has uncharacteristically thrown a number of critical interceptions, but Hurts is playing in an offense that's absolutely loaded with premium talent and one of the top 3 wide receivers in football. I mean, comparing Jalen Hurts' situation to CJ Stroud's is like comparing apples and oranges. Jalen Hurts literally has the best offensive line in the league, and CJ Stroud has no one? I mean, he started the season with a completely injured offensive line, which is insane to even think of. And on top of this, his wide receivers aren't even near the Eagles type of talent that they have in Devonta Smith, AJ Brown, and I mean, just that whole team is completely stacked. Tua and the Miami Dolphins have been having a historic year themselves too, but the criticism of Miami in their struggle to beat a good football team, there are quarterbacks in this league who can pick up wins with heavy support from the team around them. I mean, look at Kenny Pickett. That dude shouldn't even have a job right now. But despite that, their defense is giving them an opportunity to win, and TJ Watt is able to win games all by himself at times too. And honestly, the only other person that I think that has a shot of beating Stroud for MVP is Lamar Jackson. Lamar is having a great season with the Ravens, but that offense still doesn't quite have it figured out in the red zone and goes missing at times. Fortunately for them, they have one of the best defenses in football. Literally, it's insane. The Texans are winning games because of CJ Stroud. They haven't had this many wins since 2019. He's able to extend plays, throw guys open, and elevate the ability of all the players around him. He doesn't have an elite offensive line or elite pass catchers. If Houston wins, Stroud plays the lead role in the story. And for that, he at least deserves to be in that MVP conversation. I mean, it's absolutely crazy to think about the potential of this Houston Texans team. And don't get me wrong, I have the utmost respect for all those guys. Dalton Schultz, Noah Brown, Nico Collins, Tank Dell, all of those guys I have the utmost respect for. But in fairness, none of those guys are considered elite wide receiver ones in the NFL. And in the offseason, two things are going to happen that are going to take CJ Stroud even to the next level. The Texans are going to load up on free agency. I mean, they have him on a rookie contract. They're estimated to have $73 million in cap space. And they're either going to target weapons for CJ Stroud in the draft or in free agency. The franchise might have traded away their own first round pick, but they do own the Cleveland Browns first rounder thanks to the Deshaun Watson trade. And hear me out. Now that Deshaun Watson just got benched because of his shoulder for the rest of the year, what if that pick turned into, I don't know, Marvin Harrison Jr. or that kid out of LSU? Those are pretty elite weapons out of the draft, I think. Look at it this way. When Joe Burrow was drafted, the Bengals gave him T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. Tua got Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. The Eagles went and traded for A.J. Brown, and the Buffalo Bills traded for Stephon Diggs for Josh Allen. The pieces around C.J. Stroud are only going to get better. And I mean, with the weapons he already has, he looks like a top 5 NFL quarterback and a future MVP. So what comes next for the Houston Texans, who appear to have hit the grand slam for their quarterback selection? Could they claim the AFC South from the Jacksonville Jaguars and head straight to the playoffs in Stroud's rookie season? Absolutely. Do you believe that CJ Stroud belongs in the MVP conversation? And how far can they go in his first season in the league and DeMeco Ryans first in charge? Let us know in the comment section below. They've now proven that they can beat playoff caliber teams, and whoever they face down the stretch or in the postseason will need to take them very, very seriously.